They said it was impossible. One single weapon, stopping entire tank columns. A gun that could slice through concrete bunkers. A machine that could break an enemy assault before it even truly began. During World War II, the Germans had their fearsome MG42, the infamous Hitler's buzzsaw. The Japanese had their reliable Type 96 and 99 light machine guns. But the Allies, they had something different, something heavier, something meaner. A weapon so incredibly reliable that the soldiers who used it swore it had a soul. They had the Browning, the machine gun that simply refused to jam, even when the men behind it did. This is the incredible story of the most unstoppable gun of World War II. In every major theater of the war, from the bloody beaches of Normandy to the hellish jungles of Okinawa, from the frozen forests of Bastogne to the scorching sands of El Alamein, one sound told Allied soldiers they still had a chance. It was the slow, steady, thunderous heartbeat of a Browning machine gun. Thump, thump, thump. It wasn't the frantic buzz of other guns. It was the sound of pure, deliberate power. Some weapons are designed to shape battles. The Browning, however, was designed to shape survival itself. This is why, when the Second World War erupted across the globe, the Browning wasn't a new weapon. It wasn't experimental. It wasn't sleek or fancy. In fact, by military standards, it was a relic. Its core design came from the mind of a quiet, unassuming genius named John Moses Browning. All the way back before World War I, while other nations were busy replacing their old machine guns with newer, faster-firing and lighter models, America didn't. Why? Because the moment anyone, from a fresh-faced recruit to a seasoned general, got their hands on a Browning, they understood a fundamental truth. You simply don't replace perfection. The Browning M1919 and its big brother, the M250 caliber, were not fast, they weren't flashy, and they certainly weren't lightweight. The M1919 weighed over 30 pounds, and the M2, with its tripod, could top 120 pounds. But it had one quality that trumped everything else. It never, ever failed. Rain, mud, sand, snow, the shock of artillery, the total chaos of combatant of it mattered. If a Browning was pointed at you, your day was about to get very, very bad. There was a common saying among GI is, if the Browning stops firing, check the ammo, because something else is wrong. The gun itself, it was never the problem, and the M2.50 caliber, affectionately known as Ma Deuce, wasn't just a machine gun, it was a multi-tool of destruction. It served as a portable anti-aircraft gun, capable of tearing planes from the sky. It was a light anti-tank weapon, punching through the armor of early war tanks and armored cars. It was a bunker destroyer. A single .50 caliber round could rip through jeeps, concrete walls, helmets, and steel plate sand whatever was hiding behind them. German soldiers feared it so much they gave it its own nickname, Der Schwarze Blitz, the Black Lightning. The moment they heard its slow, heavy, rhythmic thump thump thump, they instinctively dove for cover. But often, it was too late. A .50 caliber round doesn't really care about cover. It makes its own door. Let's go to D-Day. June 6, 1944, the beaches of Normandy are a scene from hell. German machine gun nests, perched in high concrete bunkers, are pouring a murderous stream of fire onto the landing zones. Thousands of Allied soldiers are pinned down at the water's edge, with nowhere to go but into the deadly surf. Chaos is everywhere. Then, through the cacophony of explosions and rifle fire, came the sound American soldiers were praying for: boom, 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 boom. A Browning team, part of a Ranger unit, had somehow managed to drag their M1919 machine gun out of the waves. They set it up on a half-submerged log, water pouring from its action, and opened fire. It began hammering the German positions. The heavy .30-06 rounds tore through the narrow firing slits of the bunkers, cracked open the concrete, and suppressed the enemy gunners, giving the infantry their first critical chance to move forward. One Ranger later described it with brutal simplicity. The Browning didn't save the day. It saved all of us. Now let's travel to the other side of the world, to the sweltering, disease-ridden jungles of Guadalcanal. Here, U.S. Marines learned a harsh and immediate lesson. Nothing jammed faster in the relentless jungle humidity than a machine gun. The intricate mechanisms of many firearms would quickly corrode or clog with mud and vegetation, except, of course, for the Browning. Even when it was clogged with leaves, dripping with mud, or half buried in a foxhole during a frantic firefight, it still fired. The Japanese troops were famous for their sudden, terrifying nighttime charges, the screaming banzai attacks, where hundreds of soldiers would rush the American lines at once. And every single time, the slow, methodical fire of the Brownings was the wall they broke against. It slowed them. It stopped them. It ended them. One Marine wrote in his diary a line that sums it all up. "When the Browning was firing, we lived. When it stopped, we died." Fast forward to 1945, the Battle for Okinawa, one of the bloodiest of the Pacific War. American forces are trying to take a heavily fortified position known as Sugarloaf Hill. It's a brutal, close-quarters slugfest. On one key ridge, a Browning M1919 team of 3 men is holding the flank. All 3 of them are hit. All are bleeding. But all of them refuse to move. They propped the gun up with their helmets with sandbags, with their own bodies. And they kept firing until the barrel glowed, a dull, angry red in the twilight. When reinforcements finally fought their way up to the ridge, they found the 3 men still at their post, barely conscious from blood loss. But the Browning, it was still warm, still loaded, still ready. The ridge was held because the Browning was held. Throughout the war, engineers and logistics officers constantly complained about it. It's too heavy. The design is outdated. It should be replaced with something more modern. But if you asked the soldiers in the foxholes, you got a very different answer. They'd say, "Go ahead, try to pry it from my hands." Because to them, weight didn't matter. Age didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was survival. And no other weapon in the Allied arsenal delivered survival as consistently as the Browning. The war ended. The great armies of the world demobilized, but the Browning didn't retire. It kept serving. In the frozen hills of Korea, the dense jungles of Vietnam, the dusty streets of Iraq, and the rugged mountains of Afghanistan. Even today, the M2 Browning, a design that is now over 100 years old, is still in service. It's still mounted on tanks, on ships, and on aircraft, and it's still one of the most respected and feared heavy machine guns on the planet. How many other weapons can claim that kind of legacy? Here's the fundamental truth of it all. Most guns are just tools designed to win battles. Some, the truly great ones, might even help win wars. But only a select few, a tiny handful in all of history, manage to win the absolute, unconditional trust of the men who have to carry them into harm's way. The Browning wasn't just a machine gun. To the soldiers of World War II, it was a lifeline. It was a guardian angel that spit fire. It was the reason so many of them made it home to their families. And that's why, if you talk to those veterans today, they'll tell you when the Browning spoke. The whole war stopped to listen. Thanks for watching. If you want to hear more of these hidden stories from the Second World War, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one.